Welcome to Straight Talk with Matt Hasley. This is your host, Matt Hasley. We're here Friday night. We're broadcasting across 13 platforms. You can reach us on Facebook at ARM Radio 1 or on Twitter at ARM Radio. Also, you can reach me at Twitter at LittleHaze80. You can call in live during the show at 1-866-CALL-401 or 1-866-225-5401. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Limitless Energy Drink, GlassstickWaterBottle.com, the Shatterproof Water Bottle. Everything tastes better in glass. BPA, toxin-free, metal-free, 100% shatterproof, double-walled, insulated, and sweat-proof. Also, I'd like to thank Torque's Funny T-shirts. They've been known to cause diarrhea or uncontrolled laughter. I'm not sure which one first. We have special guest tonight, Korey Rowe from the movie Loose Change, a 9/11 truth film, and also author KT Penn of the book World Trade Center No. 7, Examining Barry Jennings. We'll be getting them online here shortly. KT Penn wanted us to do is make sure that we promoted his website, Victims of Terrorism Foundation Incorporated. There are two addresses, VOTAF.com and exposingtheloosechange.com. You can do is go to either one of those. The proceeds from his book are going to do is help the Victims of Terrorism Foundation. We're going to do is get both of them online here very shortly there. My producer's taking care of that. But we had a very lively debate about 2 weeks ago exactly tonight. This is round 2 of it. We had a lot of topics that we discussed, a lot of differences of opinion. It got really heated there. Hopefully we can be a little bit more civil tonight and be able to have all the parties stay on for the whole 2 hours or so. I'm not sure if Mike is getting everybody in the background. I haven't heard him or been messaged by him lately.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that right now, Matt. Waiting for him to log into Skype. Skype's our platform that we use for calls, and just waiting on for Korey to log back in here, and we'll be ready to go.
Good deal.
Now this will be Korey and Dylan were on your show, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, 2 weeks tonight. I already said that. Yep, we had a little bit of heated discussion there.
Like the last 5 minutes of your show.
It's a very polarizing topic. It's one topic that people get on either side of, and they feel that they it became a little bit over the top about 2 weeks ago. And then KT came back on your show for 2 hours the following
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It was 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, actually right. That's right.
God,
you guys did go overtime.
Man, and that show blazed by.
Yep,
very interesting
read
person.
KT's book. The World Trade Center No. 7. So it's going to be a good topic. I've been doing more research on this than I thought I could, and it's amazing. The more you search it, the more stuff you find, and it's just
the more questions.
It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah, I found that too. I was. I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I do listen to Alex Jones. I don't know if you know who Alex Jones is, but because he's here in Austin, so I know him, so I listen to him. But I found some of his stuff pretty far-fetched, to be quite honest. And I had never even thought to look into this stuff until you had Korey and Dylan on, and then I started looking, and then I did the research before KT came on, and it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, it makes you think, a lot about it. You and I are both ex-military. Both of them are ex-military. It just makes you, you go in the military and you feel, everything's, up and up, and it was a compelling movie that made me want to do is get them on to at least talk about the movie, why it was made. And while I did, KT contacted me, and we became one of those topics where mean, it was a lot involved. I mean, there's, the more you look into it, I mean, there's so many different things. You really have to, take your time and research it, because there's a lot of people out there that, they're just making it, videos and stuff, and, I mean, they fake them and do everything with them. But,
yeah, and you're right.
The 9/11 movie was one that it's a long movie. I mean, it's not just a.
And that's the one on Netflix, right?
Video.
That's the one on Netflix.
Correct.
Loose Change, yeah. And it was very well done. And it was something, it didn't insult your intelligence when it was presenting these questions. And, a lot of the conspiracy guys, they go way too far. They start, that's Illuminati and the Rothschilds and everybody's under mind control and all this stuff. But, it's, they take it a little too far. But Korey and Dylan did a good job in just presenting what they found and asking questions. Well,
and I mean, there's some people that say that they went to the point where they, allegedly, and a lot of people, when they don't hear the word allegedly, they just, they take it as fact. And being an ex-police officer, me being an ex-police officer, the power of suggestion can do a lot.
Well, plus it's people's perception.
You're at a traffic accident and you hear one guy say, "Oh, the car was blue," and you go by and the thing was, you find it and the car's yellow.
Yellow, yeah.
So,
everybody's perception is their reality. They, that's one thing I learned being a cop. Just because somebody tells you something doesn't necessarily make it the facts of what happened, but it's that person's perception. It's his reality. So,
yep.
There's
a lot of people also, if they feel that I knew this one guy, I won't bring up his name, but everything was a conspiracy. I mean, it was just, you name it. I mean, it was crazy. He was off the board. And he thought they were, polluting the waters and, your clouds across the sky. And I mean, he was just like, wow. I was like, just to listen to him talk. And if you ever got him started, you couldn't stop him. And I was just like going, he thought everything was against, the government was doing everything against you. And I'm like, it's not like that. I would, at least I hope it's not. I mean, maybe I'm oblivious to what's really going on, but he thought that, the government was doing everything against him. And I'm like, oh, God, I hate to have to live that way every day. Where you just
they got the bunker out in the backyard and everything. Well, Korey's not online yet, but I can get KT on here. I guess we can get him on.
All right, let's get KT on.
And I'll get out of your way.
With a KT.
Yes.
Welcome to Straight Talk with Matt Hasley.
It's good to be on.
Actually, I should say welcome back. There you go. Been 2 weeks tonight. We were just doing a little preliminaries before we got to it, and I wanted to do is touch on your Victims of Terrorism Foundation Incorporated. Your website is www.votaf.com. And you also have another website, www.exposingtheloosechange.com.
Well, it's the same
both
website.
Of those,
it's just two links to the same website.
All right. And if anybody wonders what VOTAF means, and it's Victims of Terrorism Foundation. Actually,
the acronym for Victims of Terror Attacks Foundation. VOTAF,
right.
VOTF, Victims of Terrorism Foundation, was taken, so I had to add an A to it, Victims of Terror Attacks Foundation.
Good. We also, it's, wherever side you're on this topic, whether, you're a conspiracy theorist or you're like you feel there isn't one, and you're going to do is, you made it your mission to, to debunk it. The real victims are the people that were killed in the attacks, and the people that have to do is, the surviving family members. And what you're going to do is, your goal is to build have a store that's located at the sites where they, to help those surviving members of the victims of terrorism.
Yes, because I got a lot on YouTube. Oh, you wrote a book. You're in it for the money. So I decided to do the right thing and, create the Victims of Terrorism Foundation and open stores at those locations. And as far as being on one side or the other, there are the conspiracy as far as, like, for example, they say that thousands of people heard explosions at the World Trade Center, and that's a fact. But now you research what those sounds that they heard were. That's the whole thing. There's a little bit of truth there, but the results of what they tell you are different than the actual truth. And that's what I'm trying to do, is get the truth out. So there are points that I agree with the conspiracy theory movement on, but then I tell them the alternative facts that they're not telling you. So I just like to look at all the evidence.
I understand. I like to be on, hear both sides too, and that's why we're trying to get Korey back on here. We had him on just a minute ago. He was trying to get set up. He's going to log back in, so I don't know if he's rebooting his computer back up. But he was on Skype just a minute ago. We talked to him, 15, 20 minutes ago, and he was ready to go. But hopefully we'll be able to get him on here quickly. I just, since I've been this topic, I've been, I talked to, it was a month ago when I originally contacted Korey, and I'd sent him a message through Facebook, and I wanted to do is have him come on and talk about the movie Loose Change. And, I'm researching the movie to find out questions to answer them and things that, because I'm ex-military, I'm an ex-police officer, and I would like to do is, be detailed on, oriented when you ask these questions. I don't want to ask just a general topic question that somebody can ramble and ramble. You ask pointed questions about what they are, and you do have to have some, general questions, but most of it you want to be, have a straighter answer so that you're having a goal where you're trying to go with the questions. Well, and after those 2 hours, and you came on, and finally when we started the interview, we had a good topic. Dylan Avery was on also, and we had a very good exchange, and then you came on, and I can tell you guys had prior contact before, because you guys got a little heated with each other. It happens. No harm, no foul. I wanted to do is have you guys back on, because it's a very important topic. It's one of these, 9/11 will always stick in my mind, and I always will remember where I was at 9/11 when it happened. I mean, it's something that will, it's burned into your mind. I couldn't tell you where a lot of other things that happened where I was at, but 9/11, I know exactly where I was. I know I sat in front of that TV all day long and watched it. I mean, it's just one of those topics that, you couldn't pull yourself away from. And I would, most of the people that lived or were old enough at that time were watching. It just, we don't get attacked like this. It's not how,
right.
It was our generation. That's right. It was our generation, and I say it was our generation of Pearl Harbor. And we've always, I'm not old enough from around at Pearl Harbor. I don't turn 50 till later this summer, but it was that we haven't been attacked like that for such a long time. We don't see attacks. We see them overseas. We don't see them on our soil, and we've never, we've never had an attack to this magnitude. So it was.
You were probably too young to remember Kennedy, but if anybody asks you, if you ever ask anybody, how does it feel on Pearl when we got attacked at the harbor? How did that make you feel? They can just turn. How did it feel? They just turn around and ask you, well, how did September 11th make you feel? So that's the kind of impact
it makes you mad.
Right.
Yeah, and also, I wasn't born when Kennedy was shot in December of '63. So he was killed the December before I was born.
Oh, okay, yeah, you said you're 50 this year. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so
Yep,
you can relate when you ask somebody how does, you don't even have to ask how they felt when they remember Kennedy. You just have to remember, how you felt on September 11th. They felt on the same level, the same exact way. It was a slap in the face.
Yeah, it was like when President Bush stood up on the rubble with the megaphone, and I mean I remember that, plain as day, and he was rallying, the U.S. behind to get the people that did it. I mean it was that was a very very big thing at that time. I mean, it was just to see him standing there amongst the rubble. I was just. We're getting Korey on the line right now. Here we go.
Yep,
Korey,
I'm on.
Good deal. Welcome to the show.
Good deal. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me put my headphones in.
There we go. Well, good. I'm glad you're on. Korey,
I'm here.
say hi to KT. KT, hey, say hi to Korey.
How you doing, Korey?
Hey, how you doing, Keith?
Hi,
All right. I've been researching this topic. I've gone through many articles. I've read them. I've watched tons of video. I've seen, videos that were crap. I've seen videos that look good. But I just wanted to ask you. Questions and stuff like that. We both agree 2 planes struck the towers. We've seen that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and it is reported that the named terrorists took over the flights. That's what's reported. Okay, whether we can, I agree with that. We agree that through periods of time that the cell phones worked or did not work on the planes, but they had the seatback phones that are done through satellites. There was a lot of calls made by a couple of I've seen through the different videos. 2 flight attendants, Betty Young and Madeline Sweeney. They made extended calls. Well, that's, we agree on that. But have you guys heard of Richard Clark? You guys know who Richard Clark is?
Yep.
Not me.
Richard Clark was, he did an interview in 2009. He was a chief counterterror advisor for the White House in 1998 to 2002. He was he did it during that time, in July 10th of 2001, he had a meeting. It was called CIA Director Demanded a
Anybody there?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we're here. Hold on, we're trying to get the call back here right now. I think we lost Matt. Let me see if I can get him back here.
Yeah, it dropped out. It dropped out as soon as he talked about a CIA.
His computer just blue screen. So he'll be back with us once he gets rebooted on here.
Yeah, your station's unavailable according to the people that are trying to listen as well.
Huh. I'm listening to it on my smartphone.
I don't know, because I just tried to log on and it says station unavailable, and then somebody else did too. It's the 360 live 365 /stations /armed radio link that I posted. So hopefully that's the right one.
Yeah, no, that's the right one. Hold on, let me check here. I tell you what, let's break for a commercial. We'll try to get Matt back online. You guys stick around. If you're on Skype there, Korey, just drag your name underneath our names there, and you'll see a little mute button, little mic mute. Just go ahead and hit that so you can cough and drink and eat chips and stuff. And KT, you know the deal on the phone. Just kind of hold your hand over your mouthpiece there. And let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll get Matt back online here and get us up and going. All right, you're listening to Straight Talk with Matt Hasley. We're here on Armed Radio with Korey Rowe and KT Penn. Back after these messages. Victims of Terrorism Foundation Incorporated in New York, New York, is working at debunking 9/11 conspiracy theories through book sales and a free channel on YouTube. It is the goal of the Victims of Terror organization to place stores at locations of terror attacks to assist in charities in raising money for their causes concerning those that were left behind. Visit www.votf.com to find out more information or to bring your charity together with others. We will never forget that day. Let us not forget those who were affected the most.
Do you think laughter is for sissies? Or do you hate Santa Claus? Do you know that somebody does? My answer yes to either of these two questions, then see a therapist. And visit this website right now
Korey.
at twerksfunnyt-shirts.com. The T, T-shirt is spelled T-E.
We're in commercial. We're in
These
commercial.
T-shirts and posters make great gifts.
Yeah, you gotta get
and
a
may
man.
cause internal bleeding, night terrors, blurred vision, and hemorrhoids.
Hey.
Please visit the website right now at twerksfunnyt-shirts.com, where you'll find some of the funniest T-shirts and posters on the web.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little crazy there, but no, I just wanted to do is get back where we're talking about Richard Clark, and hopefully we solved the problem. But Richard Clark was chief counterterror advisor for the White House 1998 to 2002. He was also summoned by a CIA director, George Tenet, at the time for a meeting, and apparently they went into a meeting, and it was with Korey Black and Rich Blee. Boy, those two names are tough to say, but Korey Black was the CIA official appointed ambassador at large, coordinator for counterterrorism by President George Bush, and Rich Blee, he worked for the CIA. He was chief of CIA's Global Jihad Unit. So these guys are heavyweight guys in the CIA, but they got called to a meeting, and this is an interview that they were talking about that these guys, when they met with him, they were wondering why these terrorists, the ones that were on the flights, were allowed to come in the country. They were on the watch list, and why they were taken off the watch list. And if they were in this country, and there was constant, I guarantee they get, threats all the time. But those guys, if they were in this country, that have been picked up immediately, they said. But that was I don't know if you ever saw anything about that, but that was a pretty interesting.
It's more than interesting, and it goes again with the point that the American government knew about 9/11 before it happened and allowed it to happen. I mean, it's direct complacency, and then attempted to cover it up after the fact, and successfully did. So, I mean, this is not a conspiracy theory. This Richard Clark, and it scares me that KT doesn't know about Richard Clark. I mean, this is just the way things went back then. They knew about the impending attack. They knew about Al Qaeda trying to attack the United States. They knew about Osama bin Laden and all this garbage, and they did nothing about it. They allowed it to happen, and then they tried to cover it up. And Richard Clark is one of the many whistleblowers who out there came out and attempted to say something about not only the 9/11 attacks, but the decision to go into the war in Iraq as well, and was highly critical of the Bush administration. He's a huge part of the before puzzle, and if anybody, can come out and say anything. I mean, that question's come up so many times, like, oh, if this was really happened, then somebody would have said something. There you go. Richard Clark said something 3 times. And, of course, what happened? He no longer works in government. He's been chastised and ripped apart and demonized for trying to speak the truth. And that's, just, I guess, the way things go in this country.
Yeah. If you get a chance, see that one. I understand that I feel the terrorists were totally involved, with running these planes. There's some questions I have about different things, just from the video. I'm not 100% one way or the other. I can't say, I can't make myself go to one side or the other, but I've seen a lot of stuff on both sides. where they say, they debunk it, and then if they debunk it, fine.
But don't you see a problem within that? I mean, isn't that an issue? We're talking about the largest scale attack on American soil in recent history, and we don't know for sure whether our government was involved or not. That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big problem, and that should be a pretty big problem with anybody who's listening. If you're not 100% sure, and I mean you really know to the core of your being that the United States government had no hand in allowing 9/11 to happen and had no hand in covering up what happened on 9/11, then good for you. But if you don't have that 100%, like pretty much everyone, then there's a serious glaring issue with 9/11, the government that was the administration at the time, the events before, during, and after it, the 2 wars that we got involved with, and the hundreds of thousands of people that have died because of it. That is a huge issue, and that is, again, the core of what me and Dylan have always been trying to do, is bring light to the fact that innocent people are dying because, whether it's because of neglect or malfeasance, or they allowed it to happen, or they orchestrated it. We need to know. We need to know 100%. And the 9/11 Commission didn't go into it. They were blackballed. They were underfunded, and the report that they came out was based on redacted information and classified information. So the full report has never seen the light of day. So we need to continue to push this topic for forever until we get the 100% story, so that we're not on the fence, so that we're not one way or the other. And I think that's something that KT can agree with as well.
Oh, I know.
Well, I know.
You would agree
I know
that
how to go about doing that. Doing that. And what you need to do is, and everybody needs to do is, you need to petition. You don't want to petition Congress. You want to petition the Supreme Court. When enough people raise their voice and say, we need a new investigation, we need the government to release these documents, they have to. According to the Constitution, they have to listen to the people. This is a country by the people, for the people, of the people, and that's how you do it. You don't petition Congress. You petition the Supreme Court, and that's how you get it done.
Now, do you think that's where we should start, or do you think we should start petitioning for a new 9/11 investigation? I'm of the thought that we should start at a smaller level and work for information that was based up to the 9/11 Commission report, such as the 28 redacted pages of the congressional inquiry into 9/11, which the findings of the 9/11 Commission report were not solely based on, but partially based on. I mean, I think that is a key issue, because it's something that congressmen and senators are already behind, and it's something that they're already pushing, not only in the media, but on Capitol Hill as well. I mean, do you agree we should push for the redacted pages also, so we have a full idea of what we're talking about?
Well, what you need to do is get all the information you can. You can't just look at certain bits and pieces of facts and evidence. You need all of the facts and evidence so you can weed out what's truth and what's false.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Well, that would be the redacted pages would be all of it. The redacted stuff is it's like when they take the black highlighter and they black everything out so you can't read it, because that's considered sensitive. So they block for national security. So they black that out. And if they need to get all the redacted pages out, and that's what he's trying to talk about. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and those 20, and we already have people who have viewed those pages and who have read them and have spoke on the condition of anonymity and said to the fact that those pages articulate and show foreign governments funding and assisting the hijackers of the planes that crashed on 9/11. So if we have evidence of foreign governments, not Afghanistan and Iraq mainly, and they said Saudi Arabia, which 15 of the 19 hijackers came from, they have evidence of Saudi Arabia funding and helping, assisting the terrorists who attacked us on 9/11. That's a huge deal. And of course, nothing has ever been said about Saudi Arabia. Nothing has ever been done to Saudi Arabia. They're a close ally. We buy most of our oil from them. So they pretty much have us by the short hairs. So again, we have the information. We already know what it says, but they're not releasing it because it's somewhat classified and it protects national security, which is, again, just another smokescreen that every government administration uses to hide things that they don't want coming public. And it's, again, just another example of what is wrong and what is broken with our system. And I completely agree with Keith that he's saying we need to petition the Supreme Court. We do, and that's a great point. And we need more people who are active and willing to go to local meetings and grassroots meetings and talk about this, whether they're on the fence, whether on one side or the other. Open debate and open discussion and communication is essential for anything to evolve.
That's good. I'm glad. The one thing I liked is to sit there and to talk about something back and forth. You have to be able to hear both sides, and that's the only way you evolve from being totally one-sided. You have to hear both sides to where you can, try to formulate and hear everything about it. Like I want to talk about some things that come out to me, and from reading the book and watching the different movies, things that happened and that maybe weren't asked as other questions, and maybe you guys can help our listeners tonight hear these and how your feeling is on them. Like another questions I have is, they say they had an idea what terrorists were actually flying the planes, which I don't know. I guess somehow they know, but they said that one of the pilots, his name was Russ Wittenberg. He was a U.S. Army or U.S. Air Force retired, former United Airlines pilot. Previously flew both of the airliners hijacked on 9/11. He flew Flight 175 and Flight 93. He couldn't believe that to train on a 172, which that's what he called it in the video, and then to fly a 757, flying at speeds that exceeds the plane's limits by 100 knots and pull 5 Gs. He said the plane would fall right out of the sky. He just didn't know how how it could be done.
Well, it's another valid. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Keith. I'm sorry. Your turn.
The answer I have to that is planes, like motorized vehicles and aircraft, are tested to their limits, but it's not requested. It's not advised that you take it to their limits. So if a plane is tested at 750 miles an hour, if you took it across the country at that speed, it would wear on it. So they cut it back by a inch, and run it around 550 to 600 to 625, so that it doesn't break apart and it lasts longer. So it might have been able to, and most likely been able to, go about over 700 miles an hour for a limited time without breaking up.
Okay, I'm going to respond with I don't know. I don't know the specifics of those planes. I've never flown. I have flown a plane before. It was a Cessna 172, actually, and it was just an initial pilot lesson, so I did get to fly it for a little bit, but I have no idea what it's like to fly one of those planes. However, a group of people who do are the pilots for 9/11 Truth, and this is a large organization of pilots across the world who have come together and have raised serious questions about some of the things that happened, not only with the planes, but with the pilots and the way the war games were going on that day and different things that were going on in the sky. And this is a group of people, again, pilots for 9/11 Truth, who have binded together forward some really... Yeah, and again, so anybody out there who wants to look into this...
Another one.
I'm sorry. Yep, there's countless of them.
We're going to get
countless pilots out there. And what there's me...
talking about, different... Korey, you're kind of cutting in and out on me there, and I know that's Skype, but we're going to get into talking about World Trade Center number 7. A lot of people they think that it was just damaged, or I wouldn't say damaged. They think that it just was imploded. Well, there's more stories about it where it was actually damaged by the falling towers. And I know that when the towers fell, they actually spread out and they caused damage to World Trade Center number 7. Some people say that, like there was an interview with Barry Jennings, and that's what KT's book was about. He all through his interview, he went line by line, every statement that he made, and everything the interview made. And there's some discrepancies in what he stated. Like he said, he was blown from the 6th floor to the 8th floor. Well, that's impossible to be blown up 2 flights of stairs, stairwells. I don't know if he was a little, if he was a little unsure of where he was at in the building, but he said that he...
can I jump in real quick? We're going to go ahead and we're going to question a dead man's testimony who was in a building, and we're going to say his testimony is a little strange, while at the same time 3 steel-formed buildings that have never fallen before or after fell on that day. So a lot of strange things happened that day. A lot of weird things happened that day that we really can't put our finger on. And I'm sure KT went through his interview line by line, and I'm sure he suggested lots of things that he meant to say, or that he thought that he should have said, or what he really meant, or he has a YouTube video about it. But again, he wasn't there. He wasn't in the stairwell of World Trade Center Building 7. Barry Jennings was. And Barry Jennings gave an interview under no duress, under no circumstances whatsoever that were questionable, gave his honest account of what he remembered that day. And maybe he didn't get blown from the bottom of the 6th floor to the top of the 8th floor. But maybe to him, he got blown upwards, and that's what it felt like to him. Who are we to sit back and question what a dead man who can no longer stand by his story and say, we have his interview, we interviewed him, and we released it. We didn't alter it. We released the unedited version, and he's a person on the ground. Who are we to question him? And if we're going to go through that kind of statement and say, okay, let's rip apart Barry Jennings' interview, let's rip apart everyone's interview. So everybody should have said this, or this is what they meant to say, or this is how we should have done it. But again, hindsight's 20/20. Barry Jennings gave his interview under no duress whatsoever, and then after the fact, he's no longer able to say anything about the interview. So how are we even going to go back and say, oh, well, maybe he didn't do this, or maybe he did? That's what he said. That's his interview. He was there. He has more right to talk about it than I do, and I will never question what he said. Barry Jennings was a hero, and he died a hero, and there's nothing else that should be taken away from him.
Can I get in on that?
Sure, go ahead. Make your rebuttal.
Okay. One thing Barry Jennings said was that the towers were still standing after he was blown back into the 8th floor, and even Michael Hess never even said that. Nobody on the street said there was explosions going on inside Building 7 while the towers were still standing. What happened was a south tower collapsed. They knew they had to get out of there. They were coming downstairs. The elevators didn't work because there was fire from the collapse of the south tower, and the electric was knocked out, so they had to take the stairs. It took them 28 minutes between the 2 towers collapsed. When they got to the 8th, when the north tower came, it was the energy of the tower that blasted them. No, like I said, not even Michael Hess, the guy that was with Barry Jennings, claimed that the towers were still standing while there was explosions going on inside World Trade Center 7, and nobody on the street said the same thing either. So that's what I took from that interview.
The one thing I saw from the interview was when that I had to think about, and I want to. The question is, it was very dark. He said it was smoke filled in there, and he had to bash out the window to be able to get fresh air in there. He said to bash out the windows were covered or whatever to be able to see out the windows. So he had to bash it out with a fire extinguisher. Well, why were the windows covered? You know, I mean, why were they blacked out?
From the collapse. Right, well, they were covered with the dust from the collapse of the towers.
So I'm kind of wondering if he maybe was, a little off on his, whether the building was there. I know that he thinks, one of the towers was there, maybe still, but I don't know. I can't make that decision. That's what he made. Well, right now we got to go to a commercial break. Mike's, my producer's poking me in the, let me know it's time for commercials. So once again, we'll be right back. Guys, go ahead and mute your Skypes and mute your phones a little bit, and we'll be right back. Once again, this is Matt Hasley, your host of Straight Talk, and we'll be back. You're listening live on Arm Radio.
If you want to make an extra $600 to $2,500 a month or more while working from home without quitting your day job, you need to listen to this. Visit OnlyTakes3.com and find out how you can save money, earn money, and get paid to travel anywhere in the world. Simply signing up is free. Plus, save money on everything you already buy. Wake up, people. This is too good to pass up. OnlyTakes3.com. That's OnlyTakes3.com. Get started today. Glastic Water Bottle, a shatterproof glass water bottle. It's great for any liquid because everything tastes best in glass. A leak-proof lid you can close and toss on the couch without worry. Chances are it won't ever break, But if it does, no worries. The glass is safely contained inside a protective outer shell, so you won't have a dangerous mess to clean up. You can safely remove the broken glass and get replacements. Go to GlassticWaterBottle.com to get your very own Glastic bottle today. That's GlassticWaterBottle.com. GLASSTIC waterbottle.com. What are you waiting for?
Do you think laughter is for sissies? Or do you hate Santa Claus? Do you know that somebody does? If you answer yes to either of these two questions, then see a therapist. And visit this website right now at TwerksFunnyT-shirts.com. The T in T-shirt is spelled T-E-E. Warning, these funny T-shirts and posters make great gifts and may cause internal bleeding, night terrors, blurred vision, and hemorrhoids. Please visit the website right now at TwerksFunnyT-shirts.com, where you'll find some of the funniest T-shirts and posters on the web. I'd like to welcome you back to Straight Talk with Matt Hasley. Once again, we're broadcasting live across 13 platforms. If you'd like to do is call in and interact with the show, you can call in at 1-866-225-5401. You can reach us on Facebook at ARM Radio 1. I'd like to special thanks to our sponsors, Limitless Energy Drink, GlassticWaterBottle.com. Also, TwerksFunnyT-shirts.com. Got a special thanks to KT Penn for sponsoring the show tonight. KT Penn, you can go to, he has two addresses. They go to the same site, but www.votaf.com, which is Victims of Terrorism Foundation.com. It's designed to help the victims of terrorism. We'd like to welcome them back on. Korey Rowe and KT Penn. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, guys. Real quick, are you sure we're broadcasting across 13 platforms? Because I'm on the website right now, and I can't hear anything but static.
You don't hear us right now?
No, and again, the same people that have been trying to listen keep messaging me and telling me that it's not working.
We're monitoring that right now, Korey. We have listeners. We have about 7...
Okay,
hold on. We have 7 zones going. I'm listening. I'm monitoring on my smartphone through the Live 365 app. I have disconnected, went all the way out of the app, and came back in 3 times and always connected. So it might be a regional thing that we don't have any control over, but we're working on that. They can also go through Google. If you go to Google, you can connect through 365 through Google Chrome, and I think that works a lot better. So if you want to put that out there, if people are trying to log on, this will all be available. We're recording this, and it will be posted as a podcast also after the live show. So this isn't the last time people are going to be able to hear this. But we're working on that issue right now with Live 365. Also Athena 365 and MyGen 365. They can try those platforms too.
Okay, sounds good. Real quick, before we jump forward.
I just checked it.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to tell you, I said I went and checked on my smartphone, and I could hear you talking about whether we were live or not. So, yes, it is broadcasting live. If you go through it, there's a free app you can download. It's Live 365. But if you go to the website, www.live365.com, under station, search Armed Space Radio, and you'll get us there. Okay.
Appreciate it. So, real quick, just as you were coming back, and this is just, it's not even really my question, but it was brought to my attention. Keith, what is the A for in VOTAF? Victims of Terrorism Fund? What does the A stand for?
No, well, I tried to get VOTF, Victims of Terrorism Foundation, but that wasn't available, so I had to add the letter A. Victims of Terror Attacks Foundation.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. Thank you. I just wanted to clear that up because a couple people asked me and I didn't have a legitimate answer for them.
Well,
and that commercial will be corrected. That commercial will be corrected. That was my fault. I apologize. That commercial will be corrected.
Cool. Yeah, sure. I had a couple questions. myself, I just wanted to. I actually got a chance to read KT's book, or well, not really the whole thing. I got to about page 30 actually, and I have a couple questions because some of the things are in the book they're strange. I'll be completely honest with you. For a book that's supposed to be about 9/11, there's a lot of biblical stuff in here, and I was wondering if KT just wanted to address it before I asked any specific questions. Because I mean, you said some strange stuff in here. I mean, do you stand by everything you wrote in your book, or is that something you've moved on past?
No, you have everything. You have to read the entire and the big picture. And this is about 9/11, the facts and the fiction.
But
and my experience into is explained in the book. And if I start pieces, it's not going to anybody, and it's a lot of time. So let's get.
But it's important. But this is important though, because this is the reason that you're on the air is because you call yourself KT, published author, debunker of 9/11. But in your book, you claim that you're sent by God, and you have an actual recording of the devil, and that you're writing the final revelation of the Bible. So that raises some serious questions with me because.
Right, and you got to read. You said you read 30 pages. You have to read the entire book to get the entire story, so you have all the facts and evidence. But hold on. You said you're writing the final revelation of the Bible. So what you're saying is that your book is the new Bible. You have to explain that. I mean, you can't just say. Okay, I'll explain that. 9/11 was a revelation of the Bible. If you Google miraclecross.com. You will see the miracle cross, and when you read my book, it puts two and two together, and it explains why the attacks happened on a biblical level. We were attacked because of somebody else's religion attacked our freedom. So you have to read the entire book to get the big picture, and if they waste any time trying to explain bits and pieces, it's not going to make sense because pieces of the puzzle will still be missing. So you have to read the entire book to get the big picture to understand the entire meaning, because the subtext, the subtitle, under the subtitle of my book, The Anatomy of September 11th. So I can't really get into any specific details and questions that you have to answer me about my experience of why I wrote the book and the reality of.
We got time, man. I mean, I'll do 10 radio shows. I want to find out because you claim to have an actual recording of the devil, an actual audio recording of the devil. I don't have a recording of the devil.
The Jenny Carr audio. Listen closely. To the Jenny Carr audio. There are three. One of the sound, the plane hitting the building, which 9 seconds after the plane hit, which happened to be an engine be level, 9 seconds being free fall speed, it lines up with the time frame. There is another sound, and I will send you the video on YouTube after this debate. It is less than a second before the plane hit the tower, and I'm going to send you that descriptive video. I
know exactly what you're talking about. I don't hear any devil in there. Where do I actually hear where do I hear Satan?
When I send you that video, okay, let me go ahead and find that video.
Where you're looking for the video, one thing I understand about what KT's talking about is we feel that, we love our country, everything like that. A lot of them, they feel it's a religion. They feel that their religion is behind them, that they're going to go die and go to Allah and get, I don't know how many virgins because of what they do. Me, my religion, I'm Catholic. I don't eat meat on Fridays during Lent. I do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Their religion, they feel that their religion is telling them to do this. And I understand where he's talking about a little bit about where he's talking about that it's biblical there. And I understand that the point he's trying to get across with that. Because a lot of the things if you're not Muslim in the Middle East, but I'm just saying, if you're not Muslim in the Middle East, in some of the countries there, they will kill you if you don't believe in Muslim faith, or if you don't practice the Muslim faith. And I mean, we wouldn't do that over here. We freedom of religion.
We killed Muslims. Absolutely, we killed Muslims. What are you talking about? Freedom of religion? We persecuted religions
I'm talking about
American
here in this
history.
country. I know, but I'm talking about in this country now. We feel that it's okay to practice what religion you want. I can, I can be Catholic. The next guy can be Muslim. The other guy can be Jewish. The guy can, the guy can be an atheist. It doesn't matter. And in this country,
I disagree. But okay.
In certain countries in the Middle East, well, I mean, for the most part, you can practice what you want.
For the most part, unless you want to put a mosque.
Some people are persecuted by it, but yeah, I mean, that in past time, yes. KT, go ahead.
Yeah.
Matt, I just want to ask you, can we not direct us towards religion and get it back to the on track of September 11th and try to answer questions about claims like, the phone calls had to be faked with voice morphing technology, and that ended up not. There's just satellite phones in the seatbelt. So let's try
we talked
back to 9/11.
We talked about,
and I want to direct.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I want.
We'll get to there.
Right, I understand, but I don't want to divert from 9/11. And I found the video, and it's not, if you put in YouTube, go to the YouTube, put in the YouTube search, 9/11 Truth is Found, number 19 of many. That's the video, and you can hear. I play it over and over. I made that video. I put it on a different channel that I made.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you. But let's again, the reason you're on the radio right now is because you wrote a book supposedly about 9/11. And yes, you loosely throw some stuff in there about 9/11, but it's just a streaming of your consciousness. It's your internal thoughts. I mean, your rebuttal against our Pentagon is just nonsense. Hold on, let me finish. The reason you're on the radio right now is because I gave you a chance to speak your mind, and I've even allowed the fact that you hide behind a pseudonym, and I've allowed the fact that you have ridiculous claims, and now I've even looked into 30 pages of your book, and there's a lot of crazy stuff in there. I didn't read more than that because I couldn't devote my time to reading the rantings of someone who's clearly got some psychological issues, man. So the reason you're on the radio right now is because we're giving you an opportunity, and the reason is behind that opportunity is because you claim you wrote a book. We've all read this book, and myself and Dylan and the other people in my household who have read it, it's lunacy. You claim to be sent by God. You claim to communicate with the devil. You said that you did an exorcism. Like, there's some serious problems. And again, nobody even knows who you are. I know who you are. I have all your information right in front of me, and you haven't done anything. You have no record of doing anything except writing this ridiculous book that has no real information in it. I mean, you give a lot of theories about things you have no grounds to talk about. You talk like you know better than a pilot. Oh, well, he's a pilot and he said those things, but my opinion is, since I dropped out and I got my GED, that it's education or elementary education that's going to get you through this. I mean, you got to understand where I'm coming from a little bit. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, even longer than 10 years actually, and I'm giving my time to someone who I'm allowing to hide themselves behind a pseudonym. And when I ask you questions about the book that got you legs on this radio show, and you say I'm not going to address it because it's not important, it is important. And every time that I have information that you don't like, you try to throw out ridiculous claims about me that I've addressed, and yet you still title your new YouTube videos about that kind of thing. I've given you every opportunity, and I've been more than cordial with you time and again, yet you continue to try to attack my character or anything else that you can hinge on so that people will focus on whatever it is you're trying to sell. You're trying to raise $5 million so that you can open a store at Ground Zero to sell your book, all right? There's a Kickstarter fund. I found it, and you're trying to raise $5 million so you can open stores at terrorist attack sites across the United States to sell your book. I mean, you tell us that we're in this for the money. We're the only documentary that gives ours away for free, and yet you want to raise $5 million to open a store to sell your book. I mean, come on, man.
Korey, my point is that yes, he wants to open stores. What I understand about it is to help the victims of terrorism.
How much has he helped them? How much have you actually? You have you have a nonprofit, right? So how much have you donated to anyone? I mean, what's your budget? What's your operating cost? What's your overhead? What's your salary? I mean,
let's not get into details.
I don't want to get into that. I want to get.
Hold on a second. You run an organization where you're supposed to support the victims of terrorism. How much have you supported them? Give me a name. Let's call somebody that you support. Who did you give a check to? Who have you done anything for?
Well, that could be done. I want to talk about some of the things that occurred actually, so we can get into that topic instead of we could always elaborate more on the other stuff later. I understand what you're saying, Mike. But the important thing is we're giving credence to someone right now. We're having a conversation that is going to be broadcast repeatedly, and this person has no credentials. But I want to know how they're going to be able to say yes or no, either of you, to each thing that I ask. So
yeah, sure. Okay, if that's what you want to do, we'll continue. I just want to get it on the record that this is the reality of the situation, because I don't want people tuning into this radio show and saying, "Oh, who's this guy? He sounds like he knows what he's talking about." When in all actuality, he's a 46-year-old man who's a high school dropout and has never done anything else with his life except write this book, which he claims, and he says this whole thing, "I'm KT, I'm a published author." When was the last time Stephen King said, "I'm Stephen King, I'm a published author"? Like, come on, we're actually having a conversation with someone who claims to be a published author. Anybody can publish a book, all right? So anybody.
We're gonna do is take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna do is have a little. We're gonna switch gears here and get into a little bit more question and answer and stuff with some of the things that occurred. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're live on Straight Talk with Matt Hasley, and you're listening live on ARM Radio.
The attacks of 9/11 have continued to shake our nation. As more and more information becomes available on the internet, it may be difficult to decipher what is fact and what is wild speculation. Author and investigator KT Penn has taken on the task of confronting the conspiracies head-on. In his book, Lifting Up the Cushions, Exposing Loose Change, he step-by-step walks the reader down the conspiracy path, debunking the findings of the controversial film Loose Change. Visit his website, exposingloosechange.com, and get more information about what really happened that fateful day.
Glastic Water Bottle, a shatterproof glass water bottle. It's great for any liquid because everything tastes best in glass. A leak-proof lid you can close and toss on the couch without worry. Chances are it won't ever break, but if it does, no worries. The glass is safely contained inside a protective outer shell, so you won't have a dangerous mess to clean up. You can safely remove the broken glass and get replacements. Go to GlasticWaterBottle.com to get your very own Glastic bottle today. That's GlasticWaterBottle.com. GLASSTIC waterbottle.com. What are you waiting for?
Looking to shed that extra weight? Try Raspberry Ultra Drops with African mango and green tea. Lose 1 to 2 pounds daily permanently. No hunger pains while maintaining muscle tone and feel great. Raspberry Ultra Drops are 500 times more effective than capsules. It's made in the USA and FDA compliant, all natural and completely safe. So make Raspberry Ultra Drops your weight loss solution. Guaranteed results. Log on to www.shopslimberries.com and start your weight loss today.
IntroAsian.com is a free video Asian chat room. Chat with other Asians for free via your webcam. Go to introasian.com. IntroAsian.com. Try it today.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Matt Hasley. Yes, we're live on ARM Radio. We're back in broadcasting across 13 platforms. We if you guys want to call in live to the show, you can call in at 1-866-225-5401. You can reach us on Facebook at ARM Radio 1 or Twitter. You can also Twitter me at LittleHaze80. I want to thank our sponsors tonight, Limitless Energy Drink, GlasticWaterBottle.com, the Shatterproof Water Bottle. Everything tastes better in glass. BPA-free, toxin-free, metal-free, 100% shatterproof, double-walled, insulated, and sweat-proof. Also, I want to thank TorquesFunnyT-shirt.com. They've been known to cause diarrhea or uncontrolled laughter. I'm not sure which one. Special thanks to KT Penn for sponsoring the show. His website, www.votaf.com, which is for the Victims of Terrorism Foundation. We're back on the line. We got Korey Rowe and KT Penn, and we are having a good discussion about the 9/11 conspiracy, and what happened and what didn't happen. But we're switching gears right now. I want to do is talk a little bit about. I want to bring up. You guys are both prior military, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So am I. Myself, I spent Army 82 to 85. But you guys, of course, you guys know what a Major General is, yep? And have you guys heard of Major General Albert Stubblebine the Third? Actually, his name is.
Not me. But I know.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Major General Albert Stubblebine. He was in charge of all military strategic imagery when he was in the military. He saw the 9/11 attacks. I watched a video. There's a good video with him. It's about, I don't know, it's 20 or 30-minute video where he talks and his wife came to him and it says he just started pestering him. That wasn't a plane. It wasn't a plane that hit the Pentagon. And it went on, and he says, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe it. So he finally started looking to it. And through everything that he looked at, he got to looking at sources of the images. And through the video, if you get a chance to watch it, he says that it was not a plane that hit the Pentagon. He came out. He said all the sensors for the Pentagon were shut off that day, except for one. He said he got a chance to view it. And when he came out public, and this is his words, it had a new suit put on it, and it was changed. If you get a chance to watch his video, very impressive guy. I don't know why a two-star would come out and take a chance of, the shame or risk of him coming out and expose something if he didn't feel it wasn't right. KT, your thoughts on? I want to give KT the shot. Is your thoughts on how the plane hit the Pentagon?
Well, I like to reference videos that I have on YouTube because anybody really interested in the truth will go to those videos.
All right. And
see more details in case I leave any out. I think it's change answer number 032. It explains, I think that might be the one. It explains the Pentagon and how it was hit, but I want to make a point first, and then I'll be done. If the plane wanted to hit the Pentagon with anything, why wouldn't they just hit Flight 77 hit it and be done with it? I mean, they had a plane. If they took the planes, if the government was in control of these planes, why wouldn't they just let Flight 77 hit the Pentagon instead of trying to explain a missile that 5 knocked down? It should have zigzagged in order to take that flight path and then gone through a hole, which nobody can understand how the hole was put in the Pentagon, which actually the plane went through the roof. It's explained in my video, the loose change answer number 032, how it was the explosion from the plane hitting which caused the hole in the Pentagon, the other hole, 3 rings deep. It wasn't the plane itself. It was the explosion from the plane. So people keep bringing up that there's no camera footage. Now, if a camera is facing the Pentagon and it's only showing 200 feet from the ground up, and the plane's at 1,000 feet, you're not going to see the plane. It's down into camera view. And when he came around the approach, he made a 300 turn, but he wasn't at full force because the plane would have broken apart. When he was on final approach, he gunned it, and my calculations were about 777 feet per second. 2.5 football fields in 1 second. The plane, and my video Answer number 032 explains exactly how, and I'll save a lot of time so I don't have to go through that, and we can move on. And that's about all I can say on the...
Can I jump in here for just 1 second?
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Couple of things that I found out. One, all our buildings in Washington, D.C. are outfitted with the most high-tech anti-air defense systems of any buildings in the nation. The Capitol, the White House, the Pentagon, the Treasury, all of them. They have the airspace over Washington, D.C. is tightly controlled. You can't fly over Washington, D.C. Nothing can fly over Washington, D.C. except for military aircraft or aircraft that have a very tight flight path. The Pentagon is the seat of our military. Every head of every department of our military has offices in the Pentagon. Every square inch of that complex is covered with not one frame per every 3-second cameras, real-time, high definition, the best there is, no better, and it's all going to hard drives. It's all being saved, and this was, it always gets the best. So my question is this. One, how can an airplane defeat all those defense measures that are automated? And on top of that, where are all the cameras? We get one grainy, 1 frame per second camera from a parking garage. That's what I kind of, those were the questions that I came up with while investigating this. Go ahead, KT.
Those are valid questions, but when they shut off the transponders and the plane can't be tracked, only can, you got to connect all the dots there. And
hold on, just let me make this clear. Hold on.
About that. Shut off the transponders.
Hold on, let me make this clear.
Transponders would not have anything to do with radar.
Absolutely.
That they would have that would track that plane.
The anti-aircraft, anti-aircraft.
If it's a plane.
Go ahead.
My question: if it's a plane coming in at 700 feet per second, whatever it is, no matter how fast it is, if it's coming in that fast, through investigations, they've talked to pilots and people that are, that study these things, that the closest that plane could get to the ground is about 60 feet because of the wake turbulence that it causes under that plane. If that plane is coming down at 5 feet off the ground, like they say it is, it's going to be almost impossible for that pilot to control that plane, because what it tries to do is push that plane up in the air. It makes it unstable. That gases that build up under the plane, it causes a wafting effect to it. A Cessna at full speed, they said, will get about 15 feet off the ground. That's about, and the gases will start to build up under it. A major jet like that at 700 feet per second would leave a massive wake trail behind it on the lawn, on the ground, and everything up to it. You would see the lawn would be disturbed. They talked about it. When you go down like that, the pressure that it's pushing down onto the ground to stay in the air would cause a massive wake, trough going along. And you don't see that. You see the light poles over, but you don't see the massive wake turbulence across the lawn.
KT, anything?
I
never looked into it. No, you don't. And you don't know what ground effect is either. Exactly what they're talking about, and exactly what a pilot would be talking about.
I'm going to read you an article, what they talked about on ground effect. And it really kind of blew my mind. He says, ground effect, when an aircraft is flying at an altitude that is approximately at or below the same distance of the aircraft's wingspan or a helicopter's rotor diameter, there's a, depending on airfoil, an aircraft design, and often noticeable ground effect. This is caused primarily by the ground interrupting the wingtip vortices and a downwash behind the wing. When a wing is flown very close to the ground, wingtip vortices are unstable to form effectively due to the obstruction of the ground. The result is lower induced drag, which increases the speed and lift of the aircraft. And it goes on to talk about, but they talked to one of the pilots and everything. He's talking about to be flown at 5 feet off the ground, that at the speeds it is, it would cause a major wake. They says Dr. Jim Fetzer did an article. He talked to engineers, pilot engineers. He said at 500 miles per hour, skimming the ground is about aerodynamically impossible. So the plane would accumulate a pocket of compressed gas beneath the fuselage, which would make it impossible to get that close to the ground. They said a 757 at that size, at that speed, about 60 feet. Otherwise, it would have a huge wake trough going across there. There's. I researched a lot to go into this.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
If you're flying that close to the ground, that fast, what is the likelihood that plane is going to crash? 100%?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about is if it was flying that close to the ground, and let's say he flies it perfectly, goes into the Pentagon, hits the building exactly 5 feet off the ground, there should be a massive wake trough going behind to show where he went, the path of where he went. Just like the tire tracks on your car, it would have. You're going through snow. You're going to leave a track of your snow. That's exactly what it should do. It should leave a path of that plane going up to the building, and there's nothing on the lawn. I'm not saying that who's right or who's wrong, but the investigators are saying that there should be a wake trough there. It's aerodynamically impossible, they say, for that plane to do what it did.
Allegedly.
There's a lot of science that went into it. What I don't. We talk about different buildings. I believe that I understand about the towers, how they fell, the weight, knocking it down. I think it's weird how they fell straight down, but that could be, that has been talked about, and I can understand how that does that. But with the one that has me baffled are two of them, actually, is the Pentagon with nothing found. You look at the Pentagon, I don't care if they hit the building there, if that building is reinforced, you can't shred the engines. The engines would be found. There's no seats. There's no luggage. There's no wings. It's just, the plane is like little bits and pieces.
Let me take it a step further.
And also, Flight 93, when it crashed into the ground, there's no seats. There's no landing gear. There's no engines. You would have seen it when they pulled it out of the ground. If it buried in the ground, where is it? That's the questions that I want answered.
I can clear it up. I can clear something up. Yes.
You don't know about ground effect, but you can clear up what he just said. All right, let's hear it.
Yes. If you ever take a piece of metal and bend it back and forth, and it breaks, it gets hot because of friction. Metal collapses in on itself, it gets hotter. It creates friction, and it gets very hot. Flight 93 went nosedive. It was upside down, and they pulled it into the ground between 3 to 5 degrees. When it went based on the size of the hole and the speed of the plane, when it went to the ground, it collapsed in on itself and disintegrated itself. Because metal heats up because of friction. The Pentagon, the same thing happened. When it went into the ground, in the Pentagon pretty much, it hit a building on its way into the ground. The friction heated it up.
That's pretty ridiculous. Don't you think it would be more? Don't you think it would be simpler just to admit that it was shot down? Can't you just say that it was shot down? The damage, the debris path it's farther than anything. The bits of debris that was found, and it's only bits and pieces. Can you at least admit
what are you talking about? Are you talking about the Pentagon or Flight 93?
I'm talking about Flight 93.
Because you said there's nothing, not even a scrap, not even a drop of blood in your video.
I never said that. No, I didn't. I never said anything about blood. And again, which video are you talking about? What I'm talking about is relevant information. What I've also said to you numerous times is that I'm not Loose Change and I'm not Dylan Avery. I'm Korey Rowe. I'm the producer of the film. I didn't write the film. I didn't edit the film. And so what I'm talking about is your ridiculous theory that you just tried to push forward, that the metal somehow bent, and when it bent, it heated up enough to just disintegrate into itself in some ridiculous non-physics, non-educated response.
It collapsed in on itself. How molten steel was created. The friction created molten steel. There was so much energy.
All right, well then, the engines are designed to have huge amounts of heat through them. Burning the fuel, I mean, it's huge amounts of heat. The friction that's going to cause by it hitting something is not going to be as much, or I would not think it would be as much, as the engines would burn the fuel at. It would just have to disintegrate. I mean, for it to just vaporize. I mean, I mean, you look at you would think there would be something that would have broken off and left there. I mean, every flight that you've seen that through those are two flights that I've seen that have just disintegrated to nothing. But you look at it over a period of time. I mean, you find tail sections, you find the cockpit, you find wings, big pieces. It just amazed me that there wasn't there. I think Mike's giving me a message there. Yep, we're ready for commercial break. I'm sorry about that. This is your host, Matt Hasley. We're live on Straight Talk, and we'll be back shortly, live on ARM Radio.
Do you think laughter is for sissies? Or do you hate Santa Claus? Do you know that somebody does? If you answer yes to either of these two questions, then see a therapist. And visit this website right now at TwerksFunnyT-shirts.com. The T in T-shirt is spelled T-E-E. Warning, these funny T-shirts and posters make great guests and may cause internal bleeding, night terrors, blurred vision, and hemorrhoids. Please visit the website right now at TwerksFunnyT-shirts.com, where you'll find some of the funniest T-shirts and posters on the web.
Glastic Water Bottle, a shatterproof glass water bottle. It's great for any liquid because everything tastes best in glass. A leak-proof lid you can close and toss on the couch without worry. Chances are it won't ever break, but if it does, no worries. The glass is safely contained inside a protective outer shell, so you won't have a dangerous mess to clean up. You can safely remove the broken glass and get replacements. Go to GlasticWaterBottle.com to get your very own Glastic bottle today. That's GlasticWaterBottle.com. GLASSTIC waterbottle.com. What are you waiting for?
From the author of the acclaimed martial arts fantasy novel Dream of the Dragon Pool, Albert Dahlia's latest book, Listening to Rain, begins a new series of martial arts fantasy. Listening to Rain is a Game of Thrones-like series set in medieval China, where swordsmen and women are involved in occult powers, mystery, romance, and adventure. Experience a Chinese empire unlike anything you've ever imagined. Listening to Rain is now available on Amazon.com. For more information, visit www.wanderingblade.com.
In the morning, you have bacon, you have eggs, pancakes, and that nice big tall cup of coffee. But now, every Monday morning, you can start your week out right with On the Air Monday Morning Brew, starring yours truly, Mike Allen. Hey, that's me. Wake up in the morning, get a nice cup of coffee, kick back before you start your week, and let me send you on your way. Monday's getting a bad rap. Let's turn that around. On the Air with Mike Allen, Monday Morning Brew, every Monday morning, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Armed Radio.
So rise and shine.
Once again, this is Matt Hasley, your host of Straight Talk. We're back live on ARM Radio. We have our guests in the studio here, Korey Rowe and KT Penn. We've been having a very good discussion back and forth. A lot of things that I want to still go over. We got, we were talking last about the Pentagon and we're talking about how, the plane or not a plane could have hit it or not. I mean, we both have differences of opinions of how it is. I just, myself, I can't wrap my head around how that happened. I've been in the military. I just can't see the Pentagon, the White House, any of those buildings like that, not having some air defense systems. Mike and I were talking about it. We've talked about it off the air. They're the most heavily guarded buildings you'll see. And for them to only have 2 cameras that are working, or 2 cameras that picked up anything. I mean, I heard that there was a rumor that the FBI went around and confiscated video, and that was reported in Loose Change. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was a report. But I cannot believe that the building, the Pentagon itself, it had tons of cameras videoing people coming out of the building. How come we don't have any of those videos of the... I mean, you should be able to see the plane coming to it. And you say the feet per second. But did you see the video of where they showed the hijackers, the terrorists, going through TSA?
Are you talking to me?
Yes. You saw that where it shows them where they're actually going through and running their luggage through the screener and everything like that?
What I saw was an image of Mohammed Atta somewhere up in Maine or something taking a short flight to Boston. That's what I saw.
Yeah, they were showing them just as they were going through. Like you would normally, TSA would do, where they went through the metal screener, they ran their luggage through, and then they were just, and they had, like little boxes around them that was showing that these were the people that were the actual terrorists. And that was on the regular news. That was out, it was very...
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. How can you not see that?
Well, that was, they had listed, and there were several different guys that they listed on there, and that's how they picked them through, that they were going to different flights. Well, if you see, that was back in 2001. The video there is smooth. There's no every 3, 4, 5 seconds, and I understand what you're talking about. What they call it a stop motion video, so that it takes up less space on a hard drive than full streaming video. Well, our government, they buy the best equipment they can. I mean, they don't buy cheapo stuff. You
gotta be kidding me. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Like, this is the most secure building in the world. In the world. They've got stuff in there that we won't know about for 50 years. They have more defenses in that building than any other building, including the White House. It is more protected than the White House. The fact that you're going to sit here and try to tell me that they didn't have videos, or the videos weren't working, or they were one frame every... Are you kidding me? Come on, man. This is...
Well, Major General Stubblebine said that he called them sensors, and he was talking about cameras, were shut off that day. He said that his opinion, and I mean, I've got to believe that he's got to know what he's talking about when he was in charge of all imagery in the military when he was in. And I mean, that's from U-2 spy planes, from, everything. He was in charge of all of it. And he went through and he took the measurements and everything. He said that it's his opinion. And I say his opinion because I can't say about me, but is his opinion that he feels that was not a plane that hit the building. He states that it looked like a missile. That's just, he said that, and then I went through after I saw his video, I started researching, different people that were involved in it, different engineers that were involved, that people, I believe that there was terrorists involved. They hit the World Trade Center. I think there was some other stuff that happened. Maybe they don't want to tell us, Maybe they screwed up. Maybe something happened. But I mean, there's too many things that went on and on and on that there's too many questions, and there's too many people that ask questions. And I mean, I got to go with the people that are, the pilots that you talk to, they're all Air Force retired and stuff like that. They've been flying these planes for years. That's through the research that I've seen. The one thing is, going back to World Trade Center number 7, we talked about Mr. Silverberg. He could have signed it, his policy 6 weeks before it, and it could have been just a coincidence. And I tell you what, from the tax that they had on it in '93, I would have definitely had a policy in their clause against terrorist attacks. I know I would have. I wouldn't have wanted to, insure that building without it. But I mean, it makes sense. It makes 100% sense.
Matt.
Yes.
Can I give you my final word on the Pentagon so we can move on from that?
Sure.
I made a mistake. The video about how the Pentagon got hit was loose change answer number 053. Loose change answer number 0 shows all the Pentagon, and I want to reiterate, if the government wanted the Pentagon to be hit, why didn't they just use 77 instead of shooting a missile at it? And yes, the Pentagon is the highest protected building in the United States, probably, wouldn't doubt, from not a commercial airline. That's about all I have to, we're at a dead end here with the Pentagon, because before to speculate, just like the plane that's vanished for 6 days now. I mean, it's the same on a certain level. It's the same thing.
It's not the same at all.
It's a lot of speculation.
It's a lot of speculation, and you're insulting the people that are sitting on that plane. And how dare you make that correlation? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He just proposed facts. Fact after fact after fact.
And then can I finish, Korey?
You did say that we're civil
Let TK say his point, and then you can say your point, Korey. But let TK finish.
He had no point.
Well, let him say his.
Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
How
dare you? Okay, conspiracy theorists say that the phone calls are faked, but we found out that the seatback phones worked up to satellites. They say that the black boxes were fake, hidden by the government, but the phone calls are fake, but the government to fake the black boxes, but they turned in the other 4 at the Pentagon and Flight 93. It doesn't make sense. So now they're trying to say that they faked the missile at the Pentagon. This is where it's at a dead end. So there's so much stuff out there, misinformation.
Flight 93, you said they turned in the black boxes from Flight 93.
Yes.
I couldn't see anything from Flight 93.
In the video Loose Change, says they played it for the flight data recorder that records the parameters of the plane, such as speeding, altitude, and heading, were useless because the reason they said that they were useless is because we know what crashed the plane. And the voice recorder, the cockpit voice recorder, played for the families, but they had to sign paperwork proving not so that they wouldn't talk about it. And the paperwork they signed with non-disclosure agreements, they signed non-disclosure agreements, is because that black box was still evidence, and they didn't want to mess up the case. So ask Korey about the black box at Flight 93 that they played for the families, the victims, the families of the victims.
I can understand your point there. I can understand that if it's part of evidence, that they can't disclose it. But eventually, now they should be able to. They should be able to come out with it. They've already made a case that it's been the Al Qaeda terrorists that have attacked us, and they should be able to come out with it now. And that's like we talked about earlier in the show. That the redacted pages, we'd love to have those come out. We talked earlier about the 9/11 Commission. That was there investigating, that they felt like their hands were tied. But the questions I'm getting into is also with that is, there's all these little thing here, little thing there that people come up with that are substantiated. Like Stubblebine, Major. But Willie Brown being warned not to fly the day before. Rumor has it, I won't name, but there's a rumor on the internet stating who said it. And he said when he was told that she told him not to fly. Well, it was a lady told him not to fly. There's a rumor on the internet states who it is. I'm not going to substantiate who or what they say it is.
Condoleezza Rice.
There you go. All right. You said it. So you brought it up. But why would he come out now? He's retracting his statement, saying that he didn't say that, or he didn't even bring that up. And they have him, to where his original article that he did. There's other people that had come out. They were warned not to fly the day before. I mean, it's coincidences.
Can I reiterate
that? Sure.
If you were in government and you knew something was up, and your mother was about to hey, Ma, don't. It's the same situation. Maybe they didn't know the exact thing that was happening. They knew something was up. They didn't put two and two together. And it's like a trivia question. When you know the answer, it's easy to answer that trivia question. But before you have the answer,
that's good. If I'm the government and I think that something is up, and I want to warn whoever amount of people that I think should be.
Can I interject?
Really watching it. One second, Mike. I got a point here. Is if I want to do is warn everybody ahead of time, because I feel that they might be in danger if they fly. Why am I not watching the whole East Coast? Why am I doing a war game exercise that day and pulling all my assets out of the East Coast or shutting them down? You would think you would be on heightened alert all the time. You should have somebody ready all the time. I mean, it's like if I'm a police officer, because I want to do a drill with our SWAT team, I don't pull everybody out of one sector and leave it blank. You know what I mean? That's the thing questions that have come across is why they moved ready F-16s out of the response area that takes them longer to get there. Things that were brought like that, a lot of questions were brought up that way. If they knew that there was something that might be in the pipeline, why wasn't it ever brought that these guys were in country? They didn't know
they knew was up, and they didn't know what to prevent. And like I said, it's a trivia question. Now that we know the facts, now that we know the facts, we know what the plan was because they did it. It's easy to put the blame on, hey, why didn't you stop that? But when it's happened, before it's happening, we know we're about to get attacked, and the attack is imminent. An attack is imminent. So let's go ahead and try to figure out what to try to prevent. They didn't know where you said the East Coast, but how do you know they weren't going to take these planes from the West Coast or Canada? We don't know that until it's over. That's why they were trying to figure it out. That's what all the drills are going on.
I'm not. My gripe is not about them taking the planes or overtaking the pilots, whatever. I know that can be done. I don't have any problem with this. The report that came out about how they took over the it can happen because normally you sit on a plane and you don't pay attention to what else is going on, and all of a sudden it happens. We got to do our last commercial break, and then we're going to do it quickly. But we're getting to the subject matter that I really want to get on, and we'll be right back here shortly. Once again, this is your host Matt Hasley. We're live on Straight Talk on ARM Radio. We'll be back shortly.
The
attacks of 9/11 have continued to shake our nation. As more and more information becomes available on the internet, it may be difficult to decipher what is fact and what is wild speculation. Author and investigator KT Penn has taken on the task of confronting the conspiracies head-on. In his book, Lifting Up the Cushions, Exposing Loose Change, he step-by-step walks the reader down the conspiracy path, debunking the findings of the controversial film Loose Change. Visit his website, exposinglosechange.com, and get more information about what really happened that fateful day.
Glastic Water Bottle, a shatterproof glass water bottle. It's great for any liquid because everything tastes best in glass. A leak-proof lid you can close and toss on the couch without worry. Chances are it won't ever break, but if it does, no worries. The glass is safely contained inside a protective outer shell, so you won't have a dangerous mess to clean up. You can safely remove the broken glass and get replacements. Go to GlasticWaterBottle.com to get your very own Glastic bottle today. That's GlasticWaterBottle.com. GLASSTIC waterbottle.com. What are you waiting for?
Route 106 Motors is the home of fine pre-owned vehicles. Experience a no-pressure sale with a family-friendly atmosphere. Route 106 Motors has been practicing the same simple philosophy of low prices for over a decade, and it has brought us great success. Recently, while other dealers are closing their doors, Route 106 Motors is expanding. We are a wholesale dealer, and we own the property and pay cash for all the vehicles. This allows us to sell to the consumer for a lot less than the average dealership. We are a high-volume, small-profit dealer, and we pass the savings on to you. New changes have been made at Route 106 Motors. Stop by and check out our brand-new building. Route 106 Motors, located at 569 West Street. Check our website at Route106Motors.com and be sure to like us on Facebook to find out about all the latest deals and savings opportunities. Route106Motors.com.
Still waiting to file your taxes? Have federal and state tax returns prepared by professionals at M&M Financial Consultants, LLC. Starts at just $25. M&M Financial Consultants does taxes for individuals and businesses at a very reasonable price and promises you the maximum refund possible. M&M Financial Consultants will also provide you an in-depth analysis of your tax strategies so you can save more money in the coming years. There's no need to leave your home. The entire transaction can be done through their online secured network at www.mmfcllc.com. Have any questions? Give them a call at 718-218-3616 or log on to www.mmfcllc.com.
In the morning, you have bacon, you have eggs, pancakes, and that nice big tall cup of coffee. But now, every Monday morning, you can start your week out right with On the Air Monday Morning Brew, starring yours truly, Mike Allen. Hey, that's me. Wake up in the morning, get a nice cup of coffee, kick back before you start your week, and let me send you on your way. Monday's getting a bad rap. Let's turn that around. On the Air with Mike Allen, Monday Morning Brew, every Monday morning, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Armed Radio.
So rise and shine.
Once again, we're back. This is your host, Matt Hasley. We're back live on Straight Talk on Arm Radio. We got our guest, Korey Rowe from Loose Change, 9/11 Truth Films, and KT Penn, author. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me back.
Good. I appreciate you guys both coming on. We've been a little heated back and forth, and I know because this topic is such a polarizing topic that people, really get emotional about this and become angry, and we both have to agree that further investigation of this matter is much needed. We talked about that earlier. We talked about going through and talking about, you guys both agree that it needs to be investigated more. Last week, that was a topic that was brought up on Mike Allen's show, that they spent more about a blowjob that was, that Bill Clinton got. They spent more money investigating that than they spent doing the 9/11. And that's a shame. All the people on the victims, actually and I call them victims too, because the family members that are left without their loved one, they're still victims. They need to have that closure, that answer. It's been, 13 years since the 9/11 attacks. I mean, it's a shame that we haven't, gone as a public and demanded it, or we got it to where, that they would go back and reinvestigate this, because there's a lot of questions that are whether they pan out or not, at least exhaust all of them. And I mean that's what an investigator does. You both agree with me that it needs to be investigated further. KT,
Absolutely.
yes? Korey, yes?
Well, you got questions and answers and the truth.
Yeah.
What's your answer, though?
Well,
you agree that you said in the beginning of the radio show you agreed that we need another investigation of 9/11.
And I told you how to get one.
Exactly, and you told us how to do it, so you agree. So I just want to recap, because we agreed the fact that we need a new investigation into 9/11. We agreed on the fact that the 28 redacted pages need to be released, and we agreed on the fact that the government had some knowledge that something was coming before 9/11 and then tried to cover it up. So I'm not really even sure what we're disagreeing on. I mean, besides your lunacy arguments about...
I didn't agree that the government covered anything up.
Okay, so just the part before...
I understand that.
If you want a new investigation, we should have one. And I do agree that the insurance companies that paid Larry Silverstein did an investigation. Because I made a video, 9/11, the new investigation or something like that, and explains about the new investigation, and you guys did the new investigation. I did.
Well, I have no problem with Larry Silverstein getting paid for the 9/11 attacks. I don't think that he had anything to do with it. I think he just made a insurance policy. From what I heard, he lost a lot of money. He went without tenants for so long, and I understand that. The thing I have, the biggest problems with are, World Trade Center Building 7 bothered me, and the Pentagon and Flight 93 bothered me. Those are the other things that bother me. The one thing, there's a video out. I don't know if you saw it. You know who John Kerry is? He was a senator at the time, and he was questioned about World Trade 7. And live on video, I watched this on video. He's being questioned, and he was questioned by Austin's 9/11 Truth Now, an event in Austin. Kerry responded. His exact words, I got the link for the video if you want to watch it. He goes, I think they made the decision based on the danger that it has had in destroying other things, that they did it in a controlled fashion. That was his statement. And why? I mean, I don't know any senator or who he is. If he doesn't know, he's going to say, he wouldn't.
Can I reiterate on that?
Sure.
Can I reiterate on that?
Yes.
Okay. John Kerry, you're saying John Kerry said that?
Correct.
You got to look at, George Bush says certain things and people make fun of him because he misspeaks. Now, I'm not saying John Kerry misspoke, but he understands that the fire department was in control of it, and they let it collapse in a controlled manner. And people take the controlled word, controlled demolition. Hey, John Kerry said it was a controlled demolition. No, he said that they did it in a controlled manner. You gotta understand the exact phrasing of what he said.
You're being ridiculous again.
I understand what he's trying to get the point across. They let it fall. But the thing about it is if the building falls, if you think a building is going to fall, you're not going to know exact timing. You're not going to know everything. You're going to think it's going to fall, and you're just going to stay away from it. And then they would tear it down as they thought it was too unstable to get into. So with the building, the way it fell, if you look at that building, the video of it, it drops all at once. If the center's scooped out of it, or one side of it had the fire or whatever it is, wouldn't it fall to one side or fall over or fall? Just or so much of it fall. But the whole building, if you watch it, falls in a flat, like the whole thing just came down completely. Like somebody took the knee right
I understand. You don't understand all of the details. And I'm going to refer another video is World Trade Center 7, The Hidden Truth, that shows you a lot of details that I can't explain on the radio. But
I understand
the way the building came down. It was massively destroyed on one side, and the weight was shifted onto the undestroyed steel. And after 7 hours, weakened the steel to the point it could no longer support the above weight of 47 floors. That's when that building collapsed. And that video, World Trade Center,
I understand that, but if your building is, they said it scooped out almost one side of it, right in the middle. That's what I heard.
Right.
When the building,
all the weight,
the World Trade
Center
all the
weight
down,
was shifted.
But wouldn't it fall
all the weight
to one side or the other? What are the odds?
No, because it was enough
this building failing completely at the same time that it falls straight down.
No, there was enough of the structure to support it where the fire, there was a parking garage and there was fuel tanks, and the fire was so massive that it weakened the undestroyed steel to the point it could no longer support the above weight of 47 floors, and that's at the ground level. There was more than 1 or 2 floors on fire. The floors up to the 8th and 9th floor were on fire. So when the towers collapsed and gutted the side of the building that they were close to, the south side, the payload was shifted onto the undestroyed steel, and the fires took care of the rest. Over 7 hours, the fires weakened the rest of the undestroyed steel to the point it could no longer support the above weight of 47 floors, and that's why it appears to be a controlled demolition.
That doesn't make any sense.
I just find my theory, or I wouldn't say my theory, but my vision of watching this building drop. I find it hard to believe that the building is going to drop all at once together. I mean, why it wouldn't drop at one side and lean to the side? I mean, or if it would have fell over.
Can I throw something in here real quick?
Out and they were doing a controlled demo out, and it actually fell over and landed on another building and killed people inside. Well, I mean, I could see it falling over because it was scooped out on one side.
I get what you
Hey, Matt, can I interject?
That exactly, and I can clear it up for you right now. When the top of the South Tower fell over, it was hit by the plane because the plane destroyed steel on that side. So it was shifted over to the undestroyed steel, and as the fires burned at 56 minutes, that's when that steel gave way, and that's when that top of that building came down. Now, Building 7, the south side of that building, some of the steel was destroyed. A lot of it was compromised. Most of it had fires burning onto it for 7 hours.
Can I interject here for a second?
KT? Finally gave way, it started collapsing on that side, but the payload was shifted as it was collapsing to the back part.
Hey, can I interject here just for a second?
Mike Allen's trying to...
Can I interject here just for 1 second? There were 4 other buildings built of steel around the World Trade Center that were closer to the Twin Towers. None of them collapsed. And in the history of steel buildings, only 3 have ever collapsed. That was the North and South Tower and Building 7. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah,
in the history of steel buildings... Hold on. In the history of steel buildings, even after September 11th, none of them have ever collapsed due to fire alone. That's the key word, is alone. It was the structural damage caused by the planes and the structural damage caused by the towers collapsing and undermining Building 7. Now, as far as it was 110-story towers. Then there was the 47-story World Trade Center 7. Every other building, and if you Google World Trade, Ground Zero, then and now, you will see the actual damage to the actual destruction to the entire World Trade Center complex. And when you understand that, the smaller buildings were completely gutted. Now, there was a building burning overseas for 24 hours
Hey.
and the top of it collapsed. But
I just need to
the
interrupt
building
real
collapsed
quick.
was
Hold on,
because
KT.
there was no weight left. There was no weight left to collapse it. You
hold
have
on.
to look at each individual building and you have to look at more details.
Hey, Korey, you still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we dropped you there for a second.
No, you did for a second, but it jumped me right back on.
Okay, cool beans. All right, go ahead, KT.
Yeah.
Okay, so shorter buildings in the World Trade Center complex were completely gutted. There's no weight left to collapse those buildings. Point. You got to look at.
Did the plane also hit the Empire State Building?
Yes, it was low, which means it was going slower for a place to land, which means it was low on fuel. So it didn't impact the Empire State Building as it did the Twin Towers, as the planes did on 9/11. So you have to take into account that every plane crash is different. The design of the Empire State Building, it gets narrower at the top. It's more and more narrower as the floors go up.
So does the World
And there
Trade
was
Center.
not enough. There was not enough weight on the top of the Empire State Building, and there was not enough fuel in the plane, and the plane did not go as fast as the planes did on 9/11 when it hit in 1945. It hit the B-25 bomber hit the Empire State Building, so they didn't have the destruction that the planes on 9/11 caused.
I'll agree
real
with
quick.
you.
Let's bring no. Hold on, hold on. Let me get in there real quick. First off, the steel at the bottom of the World Trade Center is thicker than the steel on the top of the World Trade Center. So yes, in a way, it actually does get thinner as the top goes up because the steel is actually less mass. And then on top of that, let's not get away from the fact that he likes to throw that, it's the only by fire alone. Let's again look at the buildings that were around the base of the World Trade Center. All of them remained standing in some fashion, except for Building 7, which was farther away. And again, what grade did you get in physics in high school? Exactly? Oh, that's right. You didn't do physics in high school because you dropped out. So again, where do you have any basis of any information for this kind of argument? Your statement about the World Trade Center buildings. Oh no. Let me know. You've been talking for 25 minutes. Let me go. All right. World Trade Center Building 7 had 24 columns attaching it to the floor, and then the South Tower, as you said, got gouged out a little bit. So you're telling me at the same time that the side that's been on fire up to 8 floors, as you said, that's been burning for 7 hours, is now spread through the entire floor to the exact moment that all 24 columns fell at the exact same moment, and then the building collapsed in free fall fashion. And then you're going to try to sit here and tell me, on top of that John Kerry doesn't say the right thing, and so they let it fall in a controlled manner. They let it fall? Are you kidding me again? Really? They let it fall in a controlled manner? How would they let it fall in a controlled manner? Like they have any idea when the building's going to fall, or what it's going to fall, or how it's going to fall. And if it got swiped on the south side, then it should have fallen to the south side, according to the logic that you use for the north and south tower, which again is completely irrational and against physics. So again, you keep making these ridiculous arguments that have no education behind them whatsoever, and we're giving you these radio shows. You are ridiculous.
You are talking about Silverberg.
I'm down.
Silverberg is heard on video saying, "Pull it." And what does pull it?
Silverstein.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let me read it.
Not Silverstein. I'm sorry. Silverberg. I'm sorry.
Right.
Silverberg.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Let
me finish. Let me finish my point of what I'm talking about. Silverberg is heard on the video saying, "Pull it." What does pull it mean?
Right.
Pull it is a term used for normally in controlled
demolition. Controlled demolition. But Larry Silverstein is a real estate tycoon. He had, I'm not going to go into him, but let me reiterate on Korey. He said that I dropped that up. He said elementary school education. No, I never said that. I was in the military. You need a diploma to get into the military. I was a parachute rigger in the Navy. Okay, so the point is, you only need an elementary school education to understand this crap. Okay? As far as Larry Silverstein saying pull it, you have to look at George Bush saying nuclear and other stuff like that, and everybody just misspeak, and other people take it into different terms. As far far as Larry Silverstein saying pull it, he's in real estate. He's not in demolition. Larry Silverstein was talking about pulling the plug on the Operation Save Building 7. I just said pull it.
Are you kidding me again? Who would give that?
No, I'm not
kind
kidding
of power?
you.
Since when does he have the authority over the New York
Hold on.
Fire Department?
Korey, I'm not finished. Korey, get Gallup.
Because your argument is
Gallup.
completely irrational.
Korey, get Gallup. Korey, get
Chill out,
Can I
guys.
finish?
Chill out. Go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish, KT.
Korey needs to chill. Chill out, Korey. Let me finish. And I'm going to refer another one of my videos because I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this subject because when you watch my video, you get all the details. Okay? World Trade Center 7, The Hidden Truth, shows you video of how bad the Trade Center 7 was damaged, how bad the fires were. As far as Larry Silverstein saying, pull it, maybe he wanted to be a big shot. Maybe he wanted to, oh, yeah, I told him. No, pull the plug on the operation, and it wasn't his call in that video.
Silverstein is
World
already
Trade
a
Center
big shot. Right, why, man? He's guy that
World Trade Center. Well, maybe he wanted to try to be a big shot and say, I'm controlling the situation. Maybe, whatever. World Trade Center 7 shows that the firefighter, the captain, said, we don't need anybody's permission to pull up the, to tell when we're going to back out. But the translation of pull it meant he was talking about, I said, just pull the plug on the operation. Pull the plug on the operation to save Building 7. Pull it. That's what that meant. And am I kidding me? I'm done now.
All right, Korey, I got one last. Going to give you guys both one last shot at it. We're running a little bit over time, but I want to both give you one last, your opinion, and you guys, what you guys want to do is say on what's left on the topic. I really appreciate you both coming on, and it's been a lively discussion for the last 2 hours. It's hopefully we can keep this, this topic alive because I want to do is get to the bottom of whether one way or not, if we exhaust everything was debunked, I'd be 100% happy. If we found out that something was behind it, I'd like to know. So either way, but Korey, go ahead.
Sure. First off, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on. Thanks for the opportunity. I'd like to personally congratulate both of you on becoming a 9/11 truther. You are now after the truth, and that is what a 9/11 truther is. We are after the truth, and that's it. It doesn't matter what you believe, what side of the fence you're on. If you're after a new investigation and you believe that all the truth isn't out there, you're a truther. So welcome to the movement. You've done a great job tonight answering and asking questions. You've brought up some great information, and in a lot of cases, you're doing better than me. I apologize that I do get upset, but I know these people. I know the victims' families. I've met these people. I've eaten dinner with them. And for someone like Keith Leckie to come out here and make these ridiculous allegations, it hurts me personally because I know it hurts them personally. And this kind of conversation needs to be continued, but it needs to be continued with legitimate professionals in the field. We need to stop talking to Keith Leckie, and we need to start talking to the pilots for 9/11 Truth and whoever wants to go up against them, and the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. There is a serious problem in this country, and there's been a serious problem for a long time. We are after correcting that problem. I appreciate the forum for you to have me on. Thank you for the time, and I apologize that I did get a little upset, but this man is he pretty much false everything, and I'll just leave it at that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Korey. KT, your comments?
Well, I can wrap it up in about 2 minutes by saying you need to check out my videos to hear both sides because my videos represent their side and my side. My videos are debates in themselves. I found a lot of information, and I have videos proving that they lied and they're covering up the truth. My video, 9/11 Liars Club series, it's 3 videos. 9/11 Liars Club, Alex Jones, Stephen Jones, and Jason Burmis, which is a narrator of Loose Change, who said that they shipped the steel up.
Hold on. No. Jason Burmis is not the narrator of Loose Change, and if you're going to be an authority on exposing Loose Change, Dylan Avery narrated every edition of Loose Change. How could you possibly think that? No,
Korey,
this is over. I'm done.
Calm down. Korey,
He's done. He disconnected. So go ahead and finish, KT.
Oh my God! No, Jason Burmis is a narrator on Loose Change. It's in my video, 9/11 Loose Change, Jason Burmis. Liars Club. 9/11 Liars Club, Jason Burmis. There's also a video, 9/11 Liars Club, The Smoking Gun, which talks about the firefighter Oreo Palmer. And he played the audio from Oreo Palmer saying that, I got 2 pockets of fire, I'm on the 78th floor, we can knock it down with 2 lines, radio that. And in the description of there is to download the actual audio from the transmissions. But what every conspiracy theory site that has a Chief Oreo Palmer transcribed where you can actually read it with your eyes, they leave out the other firefighter, and I found that Ronald Bucca. He was also on the 78th floor in the other stairwell. The name of the video is 9/11. No, it's not 9/11. It's September 11th, The Smoking Gun. But if you put that in YouTube, you're going to find a lot of, because September 11th, World Trade Center 7 is a smoking gun. No, you got to go to my YouTube, my specific video, which is Loose Change Exposed. It's all one word, of course. There's another video. Where Did the Towers Go? Which a woman named Judy Wood wrote a book saying that there was some kind of technology, radio waves or something, that brought down the building. And there's people that commented on there saying that it was a nuke attack. Meanwhile, not one hospital reported any radiation poisoning, so you can rule out a nuke attack. My videos have a lot of information, and then not just my side. They bring out the conspiracy theory movement.
Those addresses again, and
Excuse me?
And make sure you give it. I want you to do is make sure you give out to your listeners, the people listening right now. It's your websites that they should go visit, and what they can go on there and they can see the video.
Exposing the Loose Change. If you Google Exposing the Loose Change, or it would bring you right to my website, which is I have 2 addresses, which is VOTA.com is the other one, which is Victims of Terror Attacks Foundation. And yeah, he's you're right. You're trying to raise $5 million.
You're cutting out a little bit on me.
I'm opening stores in New York, in Manhattan. Can you hear me?
Let me do is post. You're kind of cutting out me. Yeah, you're kind of cutting out a little bit, but I'm going to give your websites for all the listeners out there. www.dotaf.com, or you can find it on, and it'll take you to the same page, is www.exposingtheloosechange.com.
Yes.
The website is designed to promote the Victims of Terrorism Foundation Incorporated. So
can you hear me?
I feel that yes, I can.
Okay, let me finish with last. Korey accused me of trying to raise $5 million, but he obviously hasn't researched that the New York City at Ground Zero at the World Trade Center, near the World Trade Center, how much that would be, how much it's going to pay to pay the salaries of the people, and me, the founder of the Victims of Terrorism Foundation, I'm not even qualified to work in that store. I'm not even qualified to be the CEO. Is up to the Victims of Terrorism. It's their store. I'm also opening up stores near the Boston Marathon on Boylston Street, the Boston Marathon attack that happened about a year ago. I want to open one up in near the Pentagon. I want to open one up in Oklahoma City. So when these guys say, "Oh, you're trying to raise $5 million just to sell your book," yes, I am. Of course, I am, because 90% of that from my book sales are going to the Victims of Terrorism Foundation. And if these guys were not in it for the money, they would be doing what I'm doing. And they say they give away their video for free, but why can I find their trilogy online for like $19.99?
Well, that's another topic to go into, but I want to appreciate you coming on. I really enjoyed the last 2 hours. It's been very informative, back and forth. You guys need to do is go on VOTAF.com. And also, if you haven't seen the video, go on and watch the Loose Change video, the 9/11 Truth film by Korey Rowe and Dylan Avery. Because the reason why is when you go on there, you can see both sides of it. You need to see both sides. Don't just be one-sided with it. I appreciate you coming on. This is Matt Hasley, your host of Straight Talk. We'll see you again. And we are live on ARM Radio. I'll see you again Monday night.